What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj. Today another NBA video, current NBA video. Very relevant stuff today that we're talking about. A little bit shorter video, but yeah, talking about a team today. Team that really has not been exceeding expectations in any way. These guys were expected to be a lot better than last year. These guys were expected to be something better, something that was growing. You know, that system, that Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They were supposed to take a step this year, take a leap. They have the players now. They got depth, at least what looks like a little depth. They got great young talent. They should be, with a good coach, a guy that was supposed to help this team win a lot of games, propel that team to the playoffs. And I initially thought that they were going to make it. I said in my prediction video that they would be a 7th seed or around there. That's where I predicted them to be. But, you know, things do not look up. In fact, they are looking at the 14th seed right now. Things do not look good. Guys, the Minnesota Timberwolves have plenty of talent, and you can tell it by the fact that their point differential is ranked 7th in the conference. Point differential is your average points and your average opponent's points and how much you win by it. On average, they lose by 1. Like, that's their average thing. Look at other teams' point differentials. The Golden State Warriors win by an average of 12.7 points per game. The Cavs win by an average of 7.6 points per game. It's stuff like that. The Clippers win by an average of 9.6 points per game. The worst team with the worst point differential is the Sixers, who actually do not have the worst record. The Mavs do, but the Sixers have the worst point differential. They lose by 10 points per game. The Timberwolves only lose by 1 point per game, and yet they're 5-13, which is absolutely terrible. So you're thinking, either they blow everybody out when they win, or they lose a lot of games in the clutch, which both those things are kind of true, especially the second one, because the Minnesota Timberwolves, if there's anything about them, they can't close out games. They have not shown any real determination or killer instinct in that fourth quarter. I mean, last night was actually a good example of determination and almost killer instinct when, on a night where I had to mention, Karl-Anthony Towns dropped a career high of 47 points, including 22 points on 8 of 8 in the first quarter against the Knicks. They were down 17 points with 7 minutes to go in this game and came back to tie the game with a Zach LaVine three-pointer with less than 30 seconds remaining in the game. Carmelo Anthony hit the game-winning shot, but it just goes down as another example of the Minnesota Timberwolves not being able to find that clutch mentality and being able to really produce a W in a close game. They have to blow teams out to win games. That's been the story so far, and they haven't done that enough. Only 5 times they've won a game so far this season, and that's not just second worst in the conference, but that's also the 3rd worst record in the NBA. Yes, they're 28th out of 30 teams in winning percentage, and that's terrible. They're 11 games behind Golden State Warriors, who are in first, and they're all the way down there. Like, they're already, you know, for sure they're not gonna, if they were gonna make a comeback, they're not gonna crack a top 5 seed probably, and if they're gonna just explode for a bunch of wins, it's still going to be rough. Their shot at the playoffs is very dim right now unless they turn it around fast. And last night, they almost did. They play the Knicks again tomorrow in New York, where the Knicks have been really good. But, you know, it just hasn't worked out. Why hasn't it worked out, though? We can look at the player stats. We can look at Karl-Anthony Towns averaging 22 points and 10 rebounds. Andrew Wiggins putting up around 22 points as well. Zach LaVine doing his thing as a 3rd option. That big 3 has performed overall pretty well throughout this season. Andrew Wiggins started off lightning hot this year. He was the number 1 3-point shooter for a while until he cooled down a little bit towards, you know, the recent days. But I want to talk about a guy who has done absolutely nothing this year that was expected to carry a large part of this team. Maybe not a large part of this team. Maybe he was supposed to be just a solid PG. And I'm not talking about Ricky Rubio. I'm actually talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves first-round pick this year, Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn was supposed to be, reportedly, apparently, one of the most NBA-ready college kids out there. I mean, this guy had it all at Providence, and he was a do-it-all PG with John Wall-like athleticism, streaky shooting, but great playmaking vision, and elite defense. Not just you could stay in front of the guy, but he was a hounding, harassing defensive player. Now, Chris Dunn has done well in terms of steals this year. We'll give him that. We'll give him the fact that on defense, he's been pretty good, averaging 1.3 steals in 17.5 minutes per game. That's an amazing clip. That's a better clip than almost any player in the NBA. So he's doing more than his job on the defensive end. But Chris Dunn has produced almost absolutely nothing on the offensive end this season. He has really disappointed in terms of that. He's not even cracking 5 points. I mean, he's averaging 3 points a game, and that's just not that's unacceptable for a guy like Chris Dunn. A lot of people thought Chris Dunn would become the starting point guard at a certain point in the season, that he would play so well off the bench, that he would be better than Ricky Rubio, and that he would become a starter and become a real quality player in the league. But he's done the opposite, and I guess he's a good guy coming off the bench to play defense, but you don't want this guy's upside to be a Patrick Beverley type player, because I love defense, but unfortunately you see how far a guy like that can go, how far a guy with limited offensive game can go. Patrick Beverley is one of the greatest hounding defensive players at the point guard position in the league, and Chris Dunn can have that type of defensive effect on a game. But if you don't have the offense, you're going to be right where he is, and he's not all that relevant. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you don't hear about him. He doesn't have the big games. He doesn't probably get the big contracts. He's a really good defensive player, but defensive players they don't get enough recognition in this league. Now, I know that Chris Dunn is a much better player than this. I know that he's not a defensive-only player. I know that he's got a lot of talent and a lot of stuff that he still has to show us on that offensive end. I know that he can really play make and score the basketball. Now, the problem with Chris Dunn is that he's just not doing it. I mean, first of all, his shooting percentages, 31% from the field so far this season is bad. 60% from the free throw line is worse. 31% from the three-point line is not good. And honestly, I just don't see how this guy's going to get himself out of this slump. He's just got to start delivering. He's got to start providing an impact for this team. And look, I'm not placing the entire blame of this team's losing culture on Chris Dunn. No, a lot of that could be accounted for the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves are just a young, inexperienced team. They don't know how to get consistent wins yet, and that's just a fact. Zach LaVine, he's a great player, but the guy honestly hasn't seen winning days. Karl Anthony Towns in the NBA, he said he's not satisfied with 47 points, and that's a great mentality. You know this kid wants to win. But in the NBA, at this highest level, he hasn't experienced winning. He hasn't yet. And he's going to, and I'm sure of it, because this guy, I believe, is a future MVP and future #1 player in the NBA someday. Because you see what he did last night with just going down low, doing post hooks over people. He was able to put 47 on someone. This guy's got moves for a big man. He's a center, and he can cross you up. But enough on Karl Anthony Towns. Andrew Wiggins is another guy that can grow into someone. That big three can be legendary. This team can be legendary, and they just got to keep grinding. And people thought this was the year, but look, it's got to be some year. If it's not this year, it has to be next year. And you can't wait any longer. They can just get another lottery pick. I mean, maybe that would be crazy if they just built on these amazing lottery picks. If Chris Dunn can be anywhere as good as a Karl Anthony Towns or an Andrew Wiggins, if he can be on that level, because he was supposed to be picked third, and a lot of people thought he was the best player in the draft. So if Chris Dunn is really the best player in the draft, I mean, it would be crazy to see a 3-year-in-a-row Rookie of the Year for this team. That would be absolutely unbelievable. I don't think it's going to happen. And Joel Embiid is just running away, and Chris Dunn has been awful so far, at least statistically. And he doesn't get enough playing time to, do that anyway. But Cat, Andrew Wiggins, and if, Dunn develops into something, LaVine is already very good, and he can get better, and they get another pick next year. I don't know, but this Timberwolves team could be good. But right now, something's going on with them, and I don't even know what it is. But I hope Chris Dunn gets his stuff together, because I really want to see this team make some noise. These young guys, they're so fun to watch, and they really should be better than 5-13. It just doesn't look good for them right now. That's going to do it all for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, comment right here down below. Subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.